Rocket League is a game of consistency. Players that find themselves consistently performing at a high level will consistently have good results. And vice versa, if players lack that consistency, the results will not be consistent as well. The question then is, how can you, to the best of your ability, guarantee a consistent level of play? That is what we'll discuss today as we break down the 3 keys to consistency in Rocket League. Consistency in Rocket League can be broken down into 3 things. Keep it simple, don't make your life harder, and do the little things right. Starting with that last one, the little things refers to everything in the game that do not majorly rely on your mechanical ability. In most cases, when we talk about consistency, the biggest struggles players have is maintaining a consistent mechanical level from one day to another. With this in mind, we want to make sure that having amazing mechanics is not the only thing that allows us to play well. If you have followed this series since the beginning, we have covered many topics that would be included under the idea of doing the little things right. Things like boost management, positioning, rotations, movement, etc. are all things that do not rely on your mechanical ability to be able to do them well. So they serve as the base of your ability to play consistently. To put it plainly, if the foundation of your play is your mechanics, then that foundation will crumble when those mechanics are not exactly the same from day to day. But if your foundation is all the little things that don't revolve around mechanics, then you put yourself in a position to maintain a consistent level of play that can be elevated as the mechanics peak higher and higher. The other 2 ideas go hand in hand with each other. Keep things simple and don't make your life harder. In any given moment in a game of Rocket League, you have many decisions that you can make, and what you choose will determine how easy it is for you to make your next move. For example, if you make a decision that puts yourself out of the play, maybe you dove in as last man back, and now your teammates are rushing back to try to cover for you, you have made it extremely difficult for you to now have a positive impact on the play. Even the slightest step out of position, such as rotating into your own corner a little too directly, can make your next move so much harder on yourself. Your opponents are already trying to do what they can to get you to make mistakes. If you are going to be beaten, make sure it is your opponents that are beating you, and you are not beating yourself. Similarly, when it comes to keeping things simple, you will be faced with many choices of how to play the ball or how to defend a play. In every case, we want to go for the simplest thing we can do. Now, this may sound weird because if something is simple, it may be easy for a defender or an offensive player to read what we are doing. But simple does not necessarily mean it is easy for the opponents to read. It just means we need to make a play that is something that is simple for us to do, which will be different for everyone. Obviously, for RLCS players, crazy mechanics and passing plays are very simple for them, so they can go for them without any concern. As you are ranking up, what is simple for you will evolve over time. Basically, don't try to be too fancy, and try to do things you are not comfortable doing. Doing that will often lead to disaster. Use your training time to add more options to your choices of things that are simple for you to do. In-game, choose from what you have already made simple. So hopping into this replay now, we're going to want to look at a couple of examples, and the first one is going to be right here as we go ahead and take this challenge in the midfield. And the main thing we're going to want to look at here is how we're going to just take the simple option, not try to do too much, and just keep things open on the field for both myself and my teammate. So in the current position, as I've come forward here, my teammate has also flipped back in this direction, picking up some pads, so I can assume that he's currently wheeling back around and is going to be in a position to support me in just a moment. So we're going through it, we're going to get this challenge, and we're going to try to win it past this player here, and then all we'll have to worry about is Swedish Fish in the back here, and how we're going to get around him. So we go ahead and put in this challenge. Now this ball is going to pop really hard off this wall. Now with how this ball is coming off, it's going to be really difficult to go ahead and just charge this ball down again and get another decent touch in the direction that we want. We can notice that Swedish here is sitting in a very awkward spot. So instead of trying to do too much and going for this ball here, what we're going to do is just apply a massive amount of pressure onto Swedish Fish. Because in this situation, the simple thing is just to ignore the ball. We've already taken one player out of the play. Let's try to get this second player out of the play. And that should create a free avenue then for our teammate to be able to put the ball on net. So doing the simple thing here, just going for what is easy to do, which in this case is pressuring Swedish Fish. He gets a pretty bad touch here. It's going to bounce right back off the wall. Teammate comes through and is able to slot it right on home. So right there, as you saw, just taking the easy option, not even playing the ball and just playing the player, leads to a free goal for our team. We're going to move forward now to another moment here, and the first thing we want to notice is that we're preserving our boost really well, have a nice 78, so plenty of boost to be able to make a play with. Our teammate has just flown past this ball, and now the important thing to notice is that we have two defenders back on defense. So it's going to be pretty hard to go ahead and force our way around them both. So the question again we're going to ask ourselves is, okay, what is the easiest thing I can do here, the simplest thing that allows me to stay relevant in the play and doesn't make my life any harder? Well, one option that we do have is just letting this ball come down, catching it up the wall, and taking it into some kind of aerial play. The problem with that, as we talked about previously, is that, hey, there's two defenders back, so we're using a lot of resources and putting ourselves pretty far out of position to go for a play that doesn't really have the best chance of working. So instead what we're going to do is just try to put our opponents in an awkward spot. Based on their positioning, we're going to want to just go ahead and pop this ball forward into their corner and see how they deal with it. As we can see from their positioning, they're kind of bunched up on top of each other, so now they kind of got to figure out who is going for this ball. It ends up being Swedish Fish that's going to go for it, and this guy's just going to back up slowly towards the net. So now, again, what we're going to do, we could try to rush for this ball, but rushing for this doesn't really give us a whole lot of fantastic outcomes. More than likely, we pinch it across the field, or we just get 50-50 and it doesn't go a whole lot of anywhere. So instead, let's just play this slow, take the simple option once again, play slowly, and see what our opponents do with it. We just kind of sit here, which applies pressure here to Swedish Fish. So he now knows he has to make a play on this ball, and he doesn't get the best touch at all, which allows us to come along over to the side here and slot the ball right into the net. Very low risk position because with us sitting there, if we do get beat, we can just rotate right on out, go for a demo on our way out on the man in net if we feel like it, or just rotate back around behind our teammate, and our teammate is in a position to follow up for us. So it's a very smart play to go for there, just to sit right in front of the defender, say, okay, you make a play, and if you mess up, I'm going to capitalize on it, but if you do succeed, I still have support behind me, so I'm not putting myself out of position to do what I'm doing here. So now an example here on defense. We are facing our back wall here, just waiting to see kind of what is developing with this play here. We want to keep our options as open as possible. We're not really scared of a super powerful shot towards the net, and even if there is, we have plenty of boost to be able to turn and get up in the air for it. So we're not really concerned about a shot, so really we just want to see what this guy is going to do with this ball and then play it accordingly. So as we see him go ahead and pop off this wall here, we see it's going to go backward, so okay, we're going to go up and try to clear this out. We do unfortunately miss our touch, which puts us in a bit of an awkward spot, but once again, we're not going to panic. We're still in a decent position to be able to defend this, and now the question we have to ask ourselves is, how can we make our lives as easy as possible, and what is the simplest thing we can do? Well, we could choose to just stay on the backboard right here. The problem with that is if we let this guy come through for a shot, we are making our lives very difficult by having to try to leap down off the backboard to intercept the ball as it's crossing the goal line. Instead, to make our lives easier, we can use the plenty of boost that we still have to jump off the wall to try to meet this ball at contact with Swedish Fish. We jump off the wall, use our flip to get out to it, cut down Swedish Fish's angles, and are able to put a block in on the shots. And just like that, we are in a fine position to break out back onto offense. So just like on the offensive side of the field, on the defensive side of the field, we also want to keep in mind what is the easiest and simplest things that we can go for. Right there was being proactive in the play to try to cut down as many angles as possible to give ourselves the best chance to be successful on defense. And for our final example here, we're going to look at an entire sequence of plays that begins here with this air dribble coming out of the blue half from Swedish Fish. We're sitting right around the midfield line just kind of watching what's happening. Based on where he's taking off, we're absolutely not really concerned about a shot heading towards net. We have 2 defenders back, so we're not really worried about it. So we're just going to see what he does, and he flies straight towards us. Now we could jump up for this, but jumping up is very difficult, because if we jump, he can very easily just carry the ball right over the top of us, or he can very easily fake right underneath us, therefore taking us out of the play. So with that in mind, we want to force him into the awkward spot. So we're going to make our lives real easy. We're just going to sit right here on the ground and wait to see what happens. If for whatever reason he just air dribbles right over the top of us, no problem. We'll just drive back around on a defense and allow our teammate to swoop on in. But if he wants to come down right on top of us, well then we have 2 options. We can either get the ball, or we can at least get him. Whatever works out in the moment. So as he comes down here, we'll notice, okay, not really going to get the ball, but we'll jump up and tap him right off, which gives Zapper here a free ball to carry back into the offensive half. A little bit of an unfortunate mistouch there from Zapper, but we're going to play patient again and watch how this guy is going to come out of the half. Again, we could go for a challenge on the ball, but instead we're going to make our lives easy here, and instead of attempting to get the ball, we're going to try to give a free ball to our teammate behind us by letting him pretty much do whatever he wants, but we're going to go for the car regardless of what he tries to do. Because if he tries to flick or anything like that, by us just driving along the ground, we're going to be able to hit the car without any problems. And hitting the car tends to be a lot easier than hitting the ball. So just like that, we take him off the field, and Zapper again, free ball right to him. See what he does with this one, pop over the top. We notice we're not going to be able to get a beat here on the last blue player, so we'll fake challenge here and force him to do something. He kind of just chucks the ball away, and again, we're going to look at what is the easiest thing for us to do. Well, it looks like we do have room to make a challenge here, and now we want to play the ball to a simple spot to continue onto it. If we hit it straight forward, we're just inviting a challenge into this guy. Hitting it to the right also probably results in the same thing. The open space is this current gap right here between these 2 players. So we're going to come forward with this ball, we're going to meet it, and we are going to hit it over in this direction, which allows us to attempt to maintain possession of the play. So we go ahead and play the ball over to that side. It's past him. It looks like we might be able to get this boost, but unfortunately we're not fast enough and we do get demoed. But that showcases just how easy it is to keep control of a play by just making these simple decisions around the field. Consistency is probably the most important thing in Rocket League. You can peak all you want, but your consistent level is what will determine your rank at the end of the day. Keep things simple, don't make your life difficult, and do the little things right, and you will be well on your way to a more consistent playstyle. Of course, if you guys do enjoy videos like this, please consider clicking that subscribe button right down below this video so you don't miss any future Rocket League coaching or tip content. Additionally, if you'd like to be more involved in this community, please consider joining my Discord, linked down in the description below. So thank you everybody so much for watching, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. See you later, guys. And if you're looking for some more Rocket League entertainment, might I recommend checking out this playlist right here for some more keys to Rocket League just like this. Or check out this video over here to hear the story of the craziest comeback in Rocket League history.